everybody. It's my privilege to introduce Mrs. Kanchan Ukey. She is the principal of Centrepoint School, Vardhaman Nagar. Has been with the Centrepoint group of schools for 17 years now, and she has been in this profession for about 30 years. Her teachers have gone through the Artful Teacher Workshop Programme, and we are here to talk about that. Hello, Kanchan.
Hello, ma'am. Nice to have you here today.
Thank you, Kanchan.
Now I have noticed these teachers, involving themselves in a lot more activities, well thought of activities, planning beforehand, going into the class, and the children also being curious. They are looking forward to the class, wondering what is the teacher going to share with us today, in what way is our class going to happen. There is a sense of, anticipation, waiting for something new to happen. And I've noticed our teachers also wanting to give that forward to our children. So this has been one change that I have noticed. Also, the responses of the children. When teachers are teaching in the class, earlier teachers would teach, a few questions would be asked, a teacher would gauge and understand, overall feedback, how has the class gone. But now I have noticed teachers encourage responses, teachers encourage children to think for themselves, to express themselves, to be able to speak out, and there is no judgment. Like a teacher welcomes a child's perspective and looks forward to the children, what are they going to say, how have they understood, and then I think perhaps they internalize to understand how their teaching has gone, how much the children have understood, what are the concepts that have gone forward, and probably then improvise for their next class. Among the teachers, I do have a teacher, Charu, who has undergone this training. She was a very, a person, who would have things laid out just black and white. Either it's correct or it's wrong, and if it's wrong, then she would, sort of insist and put forth a point of view, etc. But now I've realized that, she's sort of mellowed down. She accepts other people's perspective. She tries to think on those lines. She empathizes. So, and this has been a remarkable change because she's been a very strong and a very vocal person as far as what she likes and what she dislikes, and how she puts it forward. But that I have seen it, mellowed down quite a bit now, and she's more forthcoming in understanding the other person's ideas and accepting that, and giving it a thought, thinking back, it could be correct, giving them an opportunity to speak, to voice what they have to say, rather than interrupting and sort of putting the other person down. She listens to them, and I have noticed that in her, perhaps in her relation with her colleagues. So, and not only with her colleagues, even with parents. Like even Roma, for instance, when talking to parents, there would be a lot of parents coming in and telling me ki, ma'am, our teacher, we've noticed she's very, particular about what she wants, and at times she's a little rude or nasty with children, and she plays favorites. But it would take me time, to explain to the parents and tell them ki, this is not what she has in mind, and she's been an experienced teacher. But and I have called Roma and I have spoken to her. So this much earlier, initially, there was a very an attitude of no ma'am, that this is not correct, and I'll go back. And I used to be a little disturbed and worried ki would she go back and take it out on the child. But that never happened, and now she's gradually come to the fact that more of acceptance of understanding children and of understanding parents. So even when very difficult parents, when she faces very difficult parents, there are times when she has handled the whole situation very, very well. And then the parents have come back to me and spoken to me about this also. We had this assumption, But no ma'am, we were wrong about it, and I'm glad it was taken up this way, and Roma ma'am has handled it very well. So this is something that has come out after a long time. My teachers now, ma'am, I've realized that this lot of teachers, like I mentioned earlier, they go in with a lot of enthusiasm into the class. Enthusiasm, and there is a lot of thought behind what all activities they've decided for that day. So they want to explore those activities and want the children to take part in those activities, and probably when they are uh, going across their subject, they want the children to understand that it in that manner and take a feedback from the children through those activities. I have also noticed children with special needs. When teachers get into the class, like Biji is a science teacher, and I also, being a science teacher, I often go in to observe their classes. So I have noticed Biji, she was once discussing about the parts of a flower, etc. And these children with special needs took special interest in the whole activity, and although they would not have been able to write it down, in the normal manner in which when we teach and when we are discussing in the class, for them to write down the various parts properly, they were able to identify the different parts very well or using that hibiscus flower. So telling us which is the corolla, which are the sepals. They won't use difficult terms like whorls and all that, but at least getting the basic concepts. So I realized that these activities, and because the teacher had thought it out, of something different, a different way of explaining it to the children and getting the children to understand this concept, I realized that these children would definitely would benefit a lot. So I think somewhere these artful activities cater to all levels of children, different intellectual levels of children who grasp a little quickly, children who take their time. So the various activities being conducted by the teachers, the enthusiasm of the teacher, I think brings about a very wholesome environment in the class where the children really enjoy themselves, and discussing among themselves also, they come up with some things that are so beautiful in a class. And it makes me realize that children are curious, they are always interested. Children walking into class with various small pieces of, I don't know, they call it loose parts or something, and the teacher asking them to assemble them and get things together, and children being so excited about the whole activity. So I have noticed that in our children. I think these children who are with these teachers are able to express themselves better. They've been given that opportunity to express themselves without being judged. So over a period of time, no, they feel very confident in speaking and voicing what they have in their mind, and they feel yes, they've got someone to hear them out. So I have noticed that freedom of expression amongst them. Then I realized the content, it really mattered, because these teachers, the change in these teachers, and then the change in the children, which naturally then translates to the parents as well. So parents come back feeling very happy, and we've started something new now in school where we have parent teacher meetings, one odd parent teacher meeting, which is a student led parent teacher meeting, wherein the children themselves conduct activities and showcase what all they have learned. So many of the teachers have the teachers who have undergone artful training, they suggest activities, children conduct those activities, so parents are just spectators watching their children perform the activities, and in those activities parents get to understand what all the children have learned. So when children conduct these activities, the confidence with which they speak, the confidence with which they expect their parents to answer, they ask them questions, that I think parents have appreciated a lot. And then I think somewhere this I feel happy and proud about it, that if this program has been introduced then in school, somewhere it has trickled down and it has reached the parents also, who've got to understand it. Maybe not directly. I don't have to, state and tell everyone ki they have undergone an artful training. But yes, it has trickled down to them, and parents have, got to understand that my children are learning something new and in a different manner. So, and they're very comfortable with it and they're very happy with it. Looking at the joy in their children, they obviously, parents feel happy about it. And the parents like it a lot when children are able to express themselves well. So I feel good about that, and then I can tell the parents, when the parents come to me and talk to me about it, then I can tell them that this is a differentiator for us. This is how our teachers have been trained. I mean, they've gone through an exhaustive training to come up to this level. The group of teachers that we had selected mostly were for the younger classes. Somewhere I feel maybe we could have included a few of the senior classes, and in what way they could have incorporated Artful. So I have Putokshi, I think maximum up to class 7. So beyond that, because when I see my younger lot of children enjoying the classes so much, I always feel that maybe somewhere senior teachers also could have been put in. They could have also learned something perhaps, and for the benefit of the senior children. That would be one thing. Initially, I understood my teachers were very hassled, very worried about their submissions, about the homework given to them. I could understand that because they have a full workload here in school. Beyond that, getting trained and doing their homework, and then somewhere we've reached an age where we are not so used to completing our homework be much beyond what we have our regular amount of work that we have. So they had to go far beyond their comfort zone to complete that extra work, and that I think was a little troublesome for them. So there would be a lot of tears, crying, complaints. But then gradually they understood that they had to do it, they had to meet deadlines. They were not able to meet deadlines and they were not used to it. So earlier they did have those issues. So I think that would be one problem, that their documentation, one major thing. Second thing I think would be something for my senior students. I think the first thing would be, I would like this small group of teachers who have been trained, who have understood the entire concept of Artful, somehow managing to share this with the remaining teachers in my school. Having said that, I understand because I have noticed that the younger lot of children have thoroughly enjoyed their classes, and there seems to be a lot of scope for them, further. So I would like this lot of teachers to pass on what they have learned, if they could in some way, to the remaining teachers in the school. I would like these teachers to continue in this effort. It should not be like a training done and then lost and forgotten. For them to be continuing in this field, they need to connect with other people also, so that they can continue to give the best in the class.